So, without further ado, if you want to give a warm welcome to the room, our chairman, Andy Pilley, players Paul Coutts, Hunter, and manager Joey Barton. Ash is a bit shy, so go easy on him. So I'll start just with, we'll give one question to each of the panel and the people watching at home on Facebook Live. Then 4 questions will be on live on the internet, so get your questions in, and then after that we're turning off the cameras and it's just down to you people who've made the effort to come here this evening. So I'll start with the chairman. 2 days to go before the start of the season. You must be really excited.
Yeah, very much so. Personally, I probably miss football. Well, I miss it enormously. It's a little bit of a novelty for the first Saturday, but after that I'm longing for the first friendly. I think after the first friendly I realised that friendlies are pretty rubbish really, and I long for the real thing. So roll on Saturday, the real thing is back, and I cannot wait.
And to Paul Coutts, I think quite a few of you have seen Paul in action so far in pre-season. We're all very excited to have him at the club. You've been on the Foul Coast for a couple of weeks. How have you found it so far?
No, it's been good. It's been great. I've stayed up here before when I was at Preston, so it's nice to move back up to the area and obviously settle into training and stuff. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
And Ash, I know you're very excited to be here tonight. You got off the mark against Preston the other day. Is that really important to get your first goal and get in the swing of things?
Yeah, it is. Hopefully that's obviously starting me off for a good season. That's what I'm looking for, and hopefully I can beat my target last year, which was 10, and I'm going to put it up to 15 this year. So.
Piled the pressure on him 30 seconds into the forum there. Well done, Ash. And to the manager, preparation. Now you've been in for 5 weeks, getting ready for the new season. How's it all gone?
Yeah, really well. Lads obviously come back in good shape, and went out to Portugal, had a couple of really tough sessions out there, and as you've seen from the Burnley and Preston friendlies, we've really taken that on, and we're ready to get cracking now. Main body of the tactical and physical work's done for the weekend, and now we look forward to training tomorrow and travelling and hopefully getting maximum points on Saturday.
Great, now I've got loads of questions. Like I said before, you've got at half time if you want to add to this, anything that anybody says you don't fancy putting your hand up, write down on a piece of paper and we'll get the question and answers. Anybody want to put their hands up now, or should we go questions? Anybody want to start? Come on, you've all come to ask questions. Right, I'll tell you what, I'll ask one that's been written down by 4 or 5 people, and it's about Ched Evans. 4 or 5 people have asked the question, what's going on with Ched? Is there a chance he's going to come back, and what's the likelihood of that? I suppose that's for you.
We've still got the number 9 shirt free, so we're hoping to fill it at some point. I think you've all seen him play last year. You know what a good asset he can be, and obviously with the additions we've made over the summer, added to what we already had last season, he would be a player that we'd look to target. Coutts is working on it because we're good mates when he was at Sheffield United, so if it doesn't come off, it's on Coutts.
Just a quick one, how's Mr. Morris?
So was that something for the manager?
He's been great since he's come in. Obviously, everyone knows his quality. The chairman was somebody when we drew up the list of targets, and then obviously Josh was on a free transfer. The chairman spoke about how well he'd done at the club in the past, and obviously when he went to Scunthorpe, how well he'd done when he's let him go on a free transfer. So obviously we wanted to get him back in and show his qualities here. We all had our hands in our heads the other day when he obviously got kicked in the friendly. He gets stretched off because he's one of the signings that we think can take us on to the next level. And thankfully he's fine and he's fit and in contention for the game on Saturday, because Ash Ash is not happy about that, but
Before the hands start going back up, another one from Ash. This has been sent in via the internet. You're actually one of the club's longest serving players. What's your favourite moment in your time at Fleetwood Town?
My favourite moment would probably be my first goal for the club against Yeovil. Wasn't really a good goal, but it's my first one in professional football, so coming from non-league, it probably has to be that.
So we'll go back to it for now while you all warm up. One for Paul Coutts. You've experienced a couple of promotions in your time. How much are you hoping that experience will help you here at Fleetwood Town?
Yeah, I think when I spoke to the gaffer over the summer, it was one of the things we both discussed. Obviously, it's an ambitious club, and the seasons that you remember are the ones that you basically get promoted. The rest of them, they're just much of nothing really. So after I spoke to him and I met the chairman and stuff, that's the ambition, and hopefully we'll get off to a good start Saturday and we'll get the ball rolling.
Can't disagree with that. There you go. There's a hand going up. Makes my job easy when you ask questions, by the way. So.
Bearing in mind, am I right to say Kyle's our record signing?
Yes.
How are we going to get him in the formation, and what position we're going to develop him into to get some value out of that record signing?
Question about Kyle Dempsey there.
Again, it'll play itself out. I believe football takes care of it. I think I was proven right last year. He got sent out on loan, didn't make an impact at Peterborough. We still done fine without him. There was periods where, for sure, I looked around and thought I'd rather him be here than I was on loan at Peterborough, because when we had a run of injuries, it didn't really benefit us to have him out of the building. But that is football sometimes, and me and Dem spoke when he came back, and I'm like, look, I'm not a person or a manager who holds grudges. You get an opportunity to prove yourself again. Unfortunately for Kyle, he picked up a thigh strain in Portugal, which has meant he hasn't trained, which has meant he hasn't been able to take part in pre-season friendlies. So that instantly puts him behind the lads who have been fit for selection and the lads who are training every day. Kyle's now back on the grass. We'll probably expect him to join in full training, not this weekend, but probably next week. He should get a full week of training in, and obviously that puts him in contention. For me, I never bought him, so it's not my record signing. And at the end of the day, I'm not joking. At the end of the day, if he's fit to play, he'll play. If not, then the players who earn the right to be in the starting 11 will be in the starting 11. We've got to get competition for places this year. And hopefully Dems comes and throws down a challenge, because I'm aware of the quality he's got. He just hasn't shown it on my watches yet. Now you can say that may well be me, could well be me, but also it's not so. It's something I seen towards the period when I knew I'd be kind of coming into the Fleetwood job. There was a couple of players toiling. You all love Bobby Grant. I think I was proven correct on the Bobby Grant decision, same as Keane Bolger. And if you look at the course of me, my first year in charge, I haven't been wrong on many. And you've got to stick with me in the future. And as I say, hopefully we'll get the team where we need to get them, which is in the Championship. And obviously the young, exciting talent coming through that we've got in your Barry Bagleys, your Dan Mooney's, and all the other young players that were given debuts, over the course of the end of last season, and obviously have been given minutes during pre-season, because we have got a good set of young players coming through to add to a really good nucleus of a first team squad.
Just remember the players are going at half time, so let's get them working as well. Some nice questions for Paul and Ash. Any more questions from the room to keep going? Oh, Beryl, back.
Are the pair of you, as well as all the others, are you going to play with a negativity, or are you just going to go in?
Good luck with that one, Couttsy.
Where's the negativity coming from?
Well, you know what I mean? Just play and kick the ball and have him, But some of them, as soon as they walk on them, they're off. And they're into it. So I want to know, are you all going to be doing it?
I think 'cause from what I've seen, I've only been here a month or so, but from what I've seen, it's all been positive, and you know.
So are you one that gets into it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you need to have that meeting with the gaffer. He'll explain that all to you.
There's two things that I'm going to ban now. One is Beryl. The other is the question before. So Beryl's now banned from the microphone. So if anybody can put their hands up and stop Beryl from asking any more questions, that'd be great.
Hiya, were you ever tempted to go for Charlie Adam over the summer?
He's obviously on the list of considerations, but Coutts was always the number one target for that position. You know, thankfully we got him secured, we got him in the building, which wasn't easy because he did have a whole host of suitors, and thankfully he decided this was the right place for him, which is, you know, a testament to him as a professional. And you know, Charlie, for us, as good as a player he is, he's also played for, you know, Blackpool and not really played much football for Stoke last year. So we kind of had a similar situation with Dean Marnie, and we didn't want to go down that route again. Albeit we know, you know, Charlie's quality and he is Will's best mate as well. So I've got to be careful what I say while Will's here.
Eddie Hayes, will Ashley be wearing his gloves this year?
Yeah, if I'm allowed to in the winter, I will be wearing my gloves.
Yeah, nice and simple.
You've obviously just discussed the situation with Charlie Adams and that we might be going for him, and then Carl Dempsey wasn't successful on loan last season at Peterborough, who brought him back, he's injured. Conor McElhaney's our number 10, but he wasn't, not number 10, number 11 I think he's going to say, but he wasn't successful in Scotland last year when we sent him out on loan. My fear is that we're going to rely too much on Paddy Madden, Ashley Hunter and Wes Burns to put the ball in there. Charlie Adams gave us 16-18 goals last year. We started in 2 days.
In case you're not aware, I actually know we started 2 days. So, fully aware of it, fully aware of what players we've got in the building, fully aware of what we need, we're working hard as a team. But unfortunately, you know, we don't have millions to go out and just secure players, so we've got to be mindful of getting the right type of players in for this football club and making sure that we don't overpay for them, because, you know, it is coming straight out of the chairman's pocket on large, you know, transfer fees. You know, you talk about Carl Dempsey, etc, etc, but they go out on loan and then when they come back, for me, this last season's done, so it doesn't matter what you did last season, it's about what you do on Saturday, it's about what you do this season. And to be fair to Conor McElhaney and Kyle, they came back in good shape. Conor has been able to get a rhythm, train every day. Obviously you've seen him perform in the Preston and Burnley games, played really, really well, where Kyle hasn't had that. And that's not for me to say he won't get the chance to do that. It's a case of, that's pre-season, and if you don't stay fit in pre-season and you're not able to get your share for the start of the season, well, the lads who get that shirt, if they play well, you'll find it tough to get in, because I can only pick 11 players on a Saturday.
A question we've had into the internet to both Ash and Paul Coutts. What are your ambitions for the season? What would be a good season for you and for the club?
Not personally, but for everyone, you know, in the squad, we're looking to be around the top of the table come the end of the season, and starting Saturday, hopefully we can get it started with 3 points.
Yeah, I think so. I think if we can obviously improve on the work that the gaffer did last season and get into the top 6 or push for, you know, the top 2 is going to be tough, but if we can get in the top 6 and see where we go, it'll be a good season, I think.
That's one of the questions that was asked to you, Paul, that you've obviously, there was a lot of interest in you in the summer. You've chosen Fleetwood. You obviously chose Fleetwood. I'll ask you, why did you choose Fleetwood?
I just, I met the gaffer in the summer and I was impressed with him. The way he spoke about football, the way he spoke about my game. I just thought I could, learn off him and still improve as a player, having him being a top midfielder. And then when I come up and see the training facilities and stuff, the club's set up for, it's an ambitious club, it's set up for success. You don't want for anything in the training ground, do we? So we're all set up and ready to go, you just need to get the performances right on the pitch.
So a couple of hands go up there, so keep them coming.
Just wanted to ask, there's a lot of call for Ash to be starting in the starting lineup, but do you sometimes hold Ash back onto the subs bench because of his speed and tactically he can change a game massively, I think, when he comes on as sub? Just because we're not ready for him basically, and I just think his speed can be sort of scare him, and then all of a sudden it's good.
Good question, but do you see Ash's face there?
The thing with Ash is, sometimes we ask them to do a shift for the team, and for a winger, his size. For League One, sometimes the first 60 minutes, or any football match, the first 50-60 minutes can sometimes be winning the battle. And then once that's kind of passed and there's a bit of space to play in, that's why when Ash comes off the bench, he has the impact he has. Obviously, from his perspective, he doesn't want to come off the bench. And I totally understand that, but sometimes tactically we look at it and go, for instance, last season at Oxford, we played Bobby Grant off one of the wings to get in a physicality with one of the fullbacks we thought was weak for Oxford in the away game, knowing that we were going to bring Wes Burns into the game. As it transpired, Wes came into the game when he was tired, won us a penalty, win the game 2-0, I think. So sometimes the tactical element of it is in your thought process, but every player wants to play. So I know on a Friday or a Saturday, whenever we name the team, there's only 11 happy players, and that's the way you want it. You don't want players who are not starting to be happy. If you get that, the culture of football club's wrong, and sometimes I know I do certainly annoy Ash when he doesn't start, but usually he comes onto the pitch and makes the impact. And I think what players have got to understand, and I think our group do understand it, is that it is a squad effort, it is a team effort. And we don't usually pick the same 11 for 46 games, certainly in League One, certainly with how quick the games come. And if we're going to get promoted this year, it will be off the back of the strength of our squad, not just our 11 that start the game on Saturday.
Great, hands gone up there.
This is a question for Joey. Who's going to be captain for next season?
Good question.
Do you know, I've been playing with this idea for a while of just letting the lads pick it themselves. We want more than one captain. I think any good team that any of us have been in or been around or you have seen, you don't just have somebody with an armband on and they lead the team. I know you've had Nathan Pond here before, who was a kind of iconic figure, but usually underpinning that you'd have other players around him. I think back to that really good side, you had Vardy and Officer Banks and Steve McNulty and Jay what was Jay's name? Midfielder, the battler, Jay Maguire, and obviously alongside Pondy, so you do get multiple captains, even though one only wears the armband. For us, I don't really see the point in changing a club captain unless he's really poor as the club captain. In Morgs, we've got a really good captain. Obviously, his game time as captain was limited after the kind of New Year period, and Ched took on the mantle, and Paddy Madden and Ash Eastham had it at different times, and I think they all had their little bit to it. This season, we'll probably have a club captain, and obviously there'll be a captain on a match day, whoever's in the starting 11. It's alright, sorry. So yeah, it's one of those where we want 11 captains on a Saturday. It's not always easy to get, but we want that leadership, and I think with the additions we've made over the summer, added to the players that were already here, we have a real strong leadership core in the dressing room, and obviously we think that'll start to bear fruit over the course of the season.
Just a question for Andy. It's been sent in by Sam. He says, with the signings you've made this summer so far, it would appear from the outside you've had a bit of a go. Is that an accurate statement?
I think the first thing I'd like to say about the signings we've made in the summer is that, genuinely, hand on heart, I can say that each and every player we've signed was our number one target for that particular position. So we sat down and we collectively, well, Joey had a huge influence, but we pulled our ideas and we came up with a list of players that we wanted for various positions. And in a normal pre-season, you may end up with target number 2 or target number 3 or even number 4, and sometimes it works out really well, sometimes it doesn't. This season we've done remarkably well recruitment wise, and let's place on record how incredibly well the team of people that have been involved with the recruitment have actually done, because we've managed to secure our number one target for each and every position. And I think it's fair to say that on that basis, yeah, we are. Our intention is to have a bit of a go, as it Sam said.
Brilliant. A couple of, there's a hand up over there, and I'll go back to the Facebook questions in a sec.
Question for the two players, actually. I do a competition every year. Got to pick the top and bottom of each league. Can win quite a lot of money from it. Paul, am I safe in doing Sheffield when Sheffield United come straight back down? And now that you've left them, of course, and Ash, I did Nottingham Forest to win the league last year, and they did absolutely crap. Any point in me doing them again this year?
If you don't know, Ash is a big Nottingham Forest fan. Start with that controversial one to Paul. He's not answering, refusing.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be winning the league this year.
That leads us into a question actually for Ash about Nottingham Forest. It's from Tony Hewlett on Facebook. He says, Ash, what did you do when Fleetwood drew Nottingham Forest in the cup? And if you score, will you celebrate?
Well, when the draw was made, to be fair, I wasn't actually watching it. I was on the toilet, and I got a couple of phone calls off all my mates back home, and obviously they were buzzing. So I'm looking forward to that game. And yeah, if I score, I will celebrate. I've never played for them.
On a serious note, you're a big fan. It would mean a lot to go and play at the stadium you've watched so many times and you've grown up supporting. It that'll be a special night for you, won't it?
Yeah, it will be special. And when I was about 17 after my second year school at Burton, I took a year and a half off football and just followed Forest around the country, so with all my mates, so yeah, it's going to be a good night.
That must be where that Stone Island jacket's come from. And one about, again from the same question, one to Joey Barton. He says, as we did at Leicester last year, will you be making 11 changes for the Forest game, or will you take it a little bit more seriously this year?
I don't know yet. See how we get on Saturday. No, we got the priority for us is the league. A new manager, first job last season, learning on the job for large parts of it. I had to prioritise the league because people forget the year before the club sailed quite close to the bottom for a long period. So the key for me was focusing on the league, obviously using the checker trade to get the players who hadn't been starting in the league games minutes and some of the younger players to have a look at them. There will be elements of that maybe in the checker trade this year, but we will be as strong as we possibly can in the cup competitions because now we know the format, now we know what we're getting ourselves into for these 9 months of the season. We can use our resources, plus we've got a stronger squad, we've got a better depth of players who've worked with us for the year, players who've just come in, who we know we can trust to deliver over the 46 league games and then obviously how many games we get in the cup. And I do feel that a good cup run is something that we need. Certainly going out at home to Wimbledon last year and obviously drawing Leicester away in the League Cup, which you get nowhere near as much money as a nice Premier League side in the FA Cup time.
There you go.
Hi, Albert Morley. I believe now for a while we still need a big target man up front. Now this is no disrespect to the likes of Ashley, Connor or Paddy Mallon, but the ball goes in the air and straight away their defence knocks it back most of the time. We could do with a tallish guy, 6 foot plus or whatever, to hold it up, lay it off for the likes of these 3 guys to put the ball in the net. Is there any possibility of that?
The only thing is, Peter Coutts just retired, so I've given him a shout, and unfortunately he's got a better offer than BT Sport. So look, the challenge is that there's 2 ways to look at it. If you take somebody who's 6'5", 6'6", usually they're not the most mobile. You know, there's loads of them knocking around the division. You know, we're aware of lots of them. But the way we want to play, you know, the way we want to have that kind of speed to the attack, we're kind of always juggling the number 9 position, because you look at like the kind of Ched size, 6 foot, quite physical, but not 6'4". Many times last year, you're kind of thinking if we had a big brute on the bench that we could throw on for the last 20 minutes, which would be cause chaos in both boxes, then the quality of crosses sometimes that Ash and the lads put in, he would be effective. The difficulty lies in there's not many good ones about, you know, and the ones that you do, the likes of your Tom Eves, you know, we discussed him last season. He's just too expensive for us. You know, we can't afford. So the good ones we can't afford, and so you're left with the not so good ones who you don't want. If we find one, then yeah, it would possibly be an option. But also we've got big suits back. We might have to lash him in the front for the last 10 minutes if we chase it again. He's got good feet. He's 6'8".
Joey, Vic Palmer. Beginning of last year in pre-season, we were superb, pass, run, everything, move. Come this year, similar again, bit of class in midfield where the ball will go forward. I think last year, going back to what Beryl was saying, we passed it across the back, too slow, always going slightly backwards, ends up with keeper, bump. It don't work, does it? You know that. So, hopefully the keeper, less of a big kick if possible. I know it depends on the 4 in front, getting it at the right time.
Do you want to respond to that? You're telling me something, or you asking me a question? Look, the problem for us last year was, no disrespect to the lads that were in there, but the midfield didn't function the way it should. So it was a key part of our recruitment strategy this summer. That's why I brought in Jordan Rossiter, and obviously Coutts added to that. Jack Selby came back off loan, because we never had a fluid midfield that could break the lines with its passing. It's a lot of the stuff we've done pre-season. You also remember last pre-season we pretty much played teams that sat below us in the football pyramid, or foreign sides that weren't good enough. I didn't organise the pre-season. This pre-season we've played a better calibre of opposition in Millwall, Preston, Burnley. So you have a little bit more of a route map of where you're at as a team. You know, for me, the best 45 minutes football we've played in my tenure here was up there with Scunthorpe last season, probably the 45 minutes against Burnley, because you're playing against international players. And I thought for 44 minutes until we conceded the goal, you know, we give them the run around. We want to play that way. And obviously having better players, you know, this time around gives us the opportunity to do that. Hopefully this season, you know, you'll see a better brand of football. But don't forget, every other Saturday when we play here, after about September, the wind machine comes on. So you've got to figure out a way to play in the Fleetwood conditions. And I think towards the back end of the season, we found a way that we wanted to play. But if I'm honest, we didn't have the personnel to do it, so we were putting square pegs in round holes because, you know, we lost 13 in January and brought 1 in. We had a number of injuries, you know, obviously, you know, players went down injured who are in that position. You know, Dean Marnie was out, James Wallace was out, Jason Holt got injured in the Aki game, so it didn't allow us to flow. We were playing, you know, Ross Wallace in there, who's a winger, really. We were playing Nathan Sheridan in there, who's a centre-half by trade. So it was mix and match a lot of the time. Hopefully this season we don't have them problems and it'll allow us to do what we need to do, which is be better than we were last season.
Ashley, it's a question for you. Can you tell me where would you prefer to play? Would you prefer to play as a winger, or would you prefer to play in the middle on the last man, as you did in your first season here? And you used to play in the second half very often. I think it was under Presley, on the last man, and you're really quick. And I think you scored quite a few goals in the second half of the season doing that. Which position do you prefer?
Oh, right back. He's played there a couple of times. Don't forget that.
Naturally, I prefer to play out on the left wing, get the ball, come in and put some crossing for the lads. I don't think I've got the size to play on the last man. When the ball comes up, I'm not really going to win it against a 6'5" centre half.
There you go. Just going back to the questions we've inputted, we've had so many asking about Paul Coutts' darts, would you believe? For those who didn't see, we took, for a bit of PR, nothing more, we took 3 of our players to play against the PDC darts players at the World, at the match play. The night before, a guy had beat Michael van Gerwen, and on the Wednesday afternoon, Paul Coutts beat him. So, loads of questions about the darts. So is darts something you play? And to both of you, do you play any other sports, like in your spare time? What other sports do you actually enjoy playing?
Yeah, the darts is pretty big in the dressing room at the minute, isn't it? So just started a little Premier League in there. So that's quite good. Like a game of golf, just to relax really. Not very good at it, just like to relax.
Yeah, in my spare time I like to play a bit of golf with the lads. I'm not very good at it. I'm good at finding balls for the lads and being accused of cheating all the time, so probably just golf.
You did get 3 hole-in-ones apparently in the pre-season tour game.
To Joey, yeah, you reckon we'll get into playoffs this season?
Well, the ambition for us is to be there or thereabouts. Obviously finished 11th last year with not what we thought was a team capable of getting promoted. Many times you'd sit on a Saturday after a positive result and think, if we just string a couple of wins together here, we could maybe get into that playoff group, which was kind of Peterborough, Doncaster, and we were just never able to do that. Do I think we'll be better than this year? Without a shadow of a doubt. We're already a couple of levels above where we were last year, just off training, and you've seen it in the Preston and obviously Burnley fixture if you've been to the games here. We see it on a daily basis, and that is what excites us. You can never legislate for your season because you don't know until you play it, but I'll be very surprised if we're not thereabouts. I'd ideally like to get up automatically because I don't want to extend the season, but if that's the way we have to go and it's via Wembley, I know the club's done it before, from League 2 to League 1, but for us the key is that we're in the mix, in February, March, April time to either get an automatic promotion or certainly make sure we're in that playoff picture. Judging by the lads, with a little bit of tweaking and maybe 1 or 2 additions, I'm very confident we'll be there.
We'll take a few more questions and then we'll go to a break. Just a reminder that the players are going at the break, so if you've got any burning questions for Ash or Paul, get them in the next couple of minutes, and then after that we'll talk about more club matters. This is just one that's in from Neil to Joey Barton. Will Billy Crellin get a chance this season in the first team? It's always great to see a local lad in the side.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen him play pre-season. He's somebody we've all got enormous hopes for, and that's not just us as a football club. I think that's people of the town of Fleetwood. He's a Fleetwood boy, and it'd be some story to get the goalkeeper, the number 1 at this football club, and potential future England number 1 as being a Fleetwood boy. The problem he's got is we've got a very good keeper in Alex Cairns. So you'd all be moaning if I drop Cairns in and put Billy Crellin in. So we can't have it both ways. And my job is to find him a pathway. I think his development over the last 12 months has been, just exactly what we want. He's starting to grow into his frame. He's starting to become a real man. And in goalkeeping terms, he's still very much a baby. He's a young person for a goalkeeper. The plan for us was to obviously have Matt Jilks come in and challenge Guernsey for the number one. Obviously Gillo's at the latter end of his career, but is still a phenomenal trainer, phenomenal professional, and will show them, you know, Al and Billy, the route map to become a Premier League keeper just by his daily habits, his daily training regime. We do feel Billy will need a period out on loan, just to play in front of a crowd, just to get used to 3 points being available on a Saturday. The problem for us is placing, because a lot of clubs that do loan players tend to not want to loan goalkeepers because, you know, it's a high tariff position where if they make a mistake it ends up in the back of your net. So we're very, very mindful of his development. He's somebody who we want to be our number one, and I do think he's got the potential to do that. And let's hope it's sooner rather than later, because it'd be a great story for the town, it'd be a great story for this part of the world football-wise, because you aren't really known for producing footballers around here. You know, that's left to the kind of bigger cities. So it'd be great to have an England international come from Fleetwood.
Any questions? Right, we'll go back to here. This one's from Steve, to a two-part question, one to Ash and one to the manager. Ash, when will you stop picking up silly yellow cards? And the second point is to Joey, are you hoping to improve the discipline of the team this season? So I'll let Ash explain that first.
I didn't know half my yellow cards were silly, to be fair. I was just probably pulling people back and just not chasing back, but you know, I do it. But I do try to put a shift in for the team, and sometimes, you know, my tackles are a bit reckless, but can't really help it.
It's a strange one, because I mean, Ash had about 6 bookings after the 6 games last year. I always remember the chairman phoned me, not happy at all, rightly so. I think we had 12 red cards last year. I mean, you watched us, most of us watchers, you know, we weren't a dirty team. You know, we were competitive. We went and put it, you know, physically with everybody. We stood up to be counted, which I think is a representation of this part of the world. I don't think you'd want a shy and retiring football team. Certainly, you know, knowing how hard-working and passionate you all are in your everyday lives, the last thing you want to turn up and watch on a Saturday is a team of wimps get booted all around that pitch. We don't want that. But on the flip side of it, we do need to, you know, be mindful of the disciplinary procedures, because without a shadow of a doubt, it cost us about 12 points, I think, last year. You know, games we were dominating Rochdale away. We can all argue that whether it was a red card or not. I don't think the Joey Barton and Ched Evans factor particularly influenced referees in our favour. So I'll make sure I'm working on that this season. So yeah, look, we'll get better at that. We'll get better at it. Maybe the novelty will wear off with the referees, and they'll realise that actually we're just a football team trying to play football. And hopefully we improve that discipline, because I do think that they're aligned. I think if you get good discipline in your team, you know, we talk all the while as a coaching staff, you know, all good armies are disciplined. That's a key part of it. So we will make sure that we're much better in that department this season. And if Ash does pick up any silly yellow cards, make sure you all explain that to him if you're in the vicinity.
Any final questions for the two players?
Just on that point, I don't need that.
You do.
On that point about referees, all the officials, how do you think they performed last year? Seriously?
Again, it's one of those where it kind of is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you just all see it. We had some good ones, we had some bad ones. I think we tended to have more iffy ones than you'd probably like, but you know, it is football, and hopefully, as I say, the novelty of it all, I think, certainly affected some of the referees last year, whether they wanted to admit that at the FA or not. There was certainly periods where we felt, certainly the Bristol Rovers game, there were some strange decisions. You know, Wes Burns red card here, very, very harsh one. Ched obviously got his one rescinded down there. So there is mitigating factors, but I do think, you know, certainly us as a coaching staff and players, we did still pick up lots of stupid ones as well. So we need to be mindful of that. I don't like fining players, but maybe you have to put in a tariff for somebody picking up, you know, needless cards. If that, Ash might be skinned to think.
We've had one in from Richard. He's talking about the numbers. He says, Paul, is there any reason why you choose number 15? And Ash, is there any reason why you choose number 22?
No, there's no reason. I was number 30 and it just got changed to 22 and I've not changed or asked about changing it ever since.
I've just had a couple of good seasons. Obviously Sheffield United, a couple of promotions with number 15, so I thought, why change it? You know, hopefully it's a bit of luck for us and get another promotion.
Right, any more questions to the players before we have a little break? The players will be available for the first 5 minutes or so of the break if you want to come over and anybody wants the young people want to get pictures, autographs, and then they'll be going. We've got loads of questions about non-footballing matters and club matters, which after the break, the manager, the chairman and Steve Kerr, the chief exec, will be joining us as well, so we'll go through all the football and we'll still carry on talking about the football. But for now, if you just want to put your hands together and thank Paul Coutts and Ash. And we'll have a quick 10-minute break and the bar's open.